Up after the break, we'll take a look at.
Pardon the interruption for a very important news update.
This is no holds barred. We go hard, we go harder. In the ring, on the mic, every shot is no holds barred. Feel the charge, feel the armor. Bobby Josh in your brain, turn it up, go farther, farther, farther. Theme hits loud, then the grips come off. Call out the card, call every payoff. Botches, legends, titles, and heat. Pay-per-view nights, run it back, repeat. They slam, we analyze. Move for move, every feud, every bruise, every pivot move. This is no holds barred. We go hard, we go harder. In the ring, on the mic, every shot is no holds barred. Feel the charge, feel the armor. Bobby Josh in your brain, turn it up, go farther. Turn it up, go farther. Turn it up, go farther. No script, just true. Every jab breaks through. From the bell to the brawl. Name the show. We want it all. 1, 2, 3. This is no holds barred. We go hard, we go harder. In the ring, on the mic, every shot is no holds barred. Feel the charge, feel the armor. Bobby Josh in your brain, turn it up, go farther. Turn it up, go farther. Turn it up, go farther.
All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of No Holds Barred Wrestling Podcast. We continue our WrestleMania Rewind series here, and we rewind WrestleMania IV. What an epic, what a bloated WrestleMania. But my goodness, if you want to talk about characters, there were plenty to choose from. I'm Bobby Melendez, joined always by my tag team partner, Josh Kimmel. Josh, my man, how you doing?
We are doing good tonight or today or whatever, wherever you are, because this is a timeless episode. And if you're enjoying these, we're going through all of WrestleManias throughout the rest of the year, I'm assuming. So it looks good that we have our schedule mapped out for us, unless there's a PLE or pay-per-view we're going to cover, or if we get a guest or anything of that nature. But WrestleMania 4, if you like wrestling, then this was your show. 16 matches on Blue Sky last night. And again, timeless show, but this correlates with today's age with the AEW stuff. And I said in a comment, and I don't post on social media, I said on a comment, like, how many super kicks, how many kickouts, how many finishers, how many blood, how much can we get through in 7 hours and be satisfied? If everything's amazing, then nothing's amazing. And then the AEW sickos went after me just because I wanted just because I like shorter pay-per-views. And I'm going to say the same thing for WrestleMania. 16 matches. Look, I understand the concept. I get the tournament. But have these matches on somewhere, and then have like maybe the last 4 on the pay-per-view. It just seemed like they're like, hey guys, this year in 1988, we're going to have no creative anything. We're just going to throw a tournament at wrestling. Like, how lazy would that be in 2026? If Triple H, like, you know what, guys, the whole show is just a tournament. That's it. No story, just the tournament. Do you think people would be happy? I'm not complaining. I'm just asking a real life question. Do you think people would be happy?
I don't know, because even back then, I get it, right? I mean, you think about the characters of this show and the idea. It sounds big, right? If you think about it, it sounds great. Like, hey, WrestleMania 4. How can we get bigger? How can we get badder? Let's make a tournament for the world title. Like, the world title is on the line. Let's go ahead and throw Andre in there. Let's go. He's the enforcer now, but let's throw him in there. Let's get Hogan Andre too, which was, again, the selling point of this pay-per-view was Hogan Andre too. And then, you got Randy Savage, who's coming on up. Ted DiBiase, the perfect villain. I get it. It sounds amazing, really, but then when you watch it, and then you watch the matches and you see how they, I think like, it's obvious they thought it through her because they're like, even they said, man, that's a lot of matches because how did it end? They skipped ones. Oh, double disqualification. That's a draw. It's like you could have done this somewhere else, you could have done away with a couple of these matches, but I get it. I understand it because I've thought about like, man, they should do a PLE based off like, a tournament for the championship or whatever, but not do all the matches on one PLE. You could have them on the net. Now it would be Raw and SmackDown, and you go into a pay-per-view like Vengeance back in the day with the Undisputed Championship with the Final Four going for in the tournament. But it was bloated, but it was entertaining. Just to see just all these guys from back in the day, and in this, you're kind of looking back, you're kind of scratching your head, like, especially when we get into the opening bout, which is the Battle Royal, like we'll get into it, but there was so much of like, oh, well, this is obvious, especially if you weren't paying attention or you never saw it before, like this, I know where this is going to go. They're going to push this guy up. This guy, he's going to be something one day. This guy, no, wait, who, what? It was just a lot of that. But as Maria says, shout out to Maria. She says, Macho Mania. Lou's watching from Facebook. Appreciate Lou. Justin in the house. Everyone tuning in. Appreciate you wherever you're watching from. This has been fun. You were just saying we got our shows kind of mapped out, at least for our main shows. But and I love that because it gives us something to do, and we love doing this. We love watching wrestling, and this is great. Kind of taking the step back. Like I'm already thinking like past WrestleMania, like other things we could watch, Starcades and other kind of pay-per-views and stuff like that's entertaining for me. So I love that we're doing this. I love going back and watching. Rib Shot is in the house, double VHS special. Yeah, it had it all, my man. So let's get right into it. And because we got a lot to cover, a lot to discuss. Ignore that first one. I was getting through some stuff here. And if I get sidetracked, we're in the middle of draft season. And right now I am doing like this 32 podcaster thing mock and I picked 130 coming up for Miami. So I got my guys here today. If they're eliminated, I'll scratch out the guys I don't have, the guys that are still there, that's going to be my pick. So, but let's start it off with the Battle Royal. And as you can see there, the final two was Bret Hart and Bad News Brown. They kind of team up towards the end, and it kind of tells you, the smartest guy in the room usually, right? The excellence of execution kind of lets his guard down, and he's like, yeah, woohoo, kicking the back of the head, thrown out of the ring. And Bad News Brown stands tall. And this is what I was alluding to. When you see Bret Hart, who we know what he's going to be, and you could already see, it's not like it's, man, I wonder how, why he was put in that spot. Like you watch Bret Hart even then, and you're like, man, he was special. Like you could tell he knows how to work the ring. He knows how to get the crowd fired up. He said it before, he's 10-10 in the ring, 6'10" in the mic and whatever, but he knows how to get a crowd pumped up. He knows how to get them pissed, whatever. Thought it was cool. Kind of, it was a little convoluted, a little congested was the ring a little bit. You could tell it's kind of, not everybody was on the same page, but as it got closer to the end, the spots and how kind of wrapped up, I get it. But of course, looking back, you're kind of like, it should have been Bret Hart. I mean, but it is what it is. Bad News Brown gets the win, turns on or, pulls the trick on Bret Hart. Bret gets eliminated. Bad News Brown holds the giant oversized trophy. Here comes Bret Hart, has his first ever meltdown. Before the Survivor Series, we get a taste of the meltdown of Bret Hart, destroys the trophy, and he stands in the ring tall. What do you think of this? The opening bout and the finish.
How did you not mention JYD, our homie? 4 WrestleManias in a row now.
I know.
It's embarrassed. This is the first time in the history where the heels in a battle royal team up and they're actually successful and eliminate the babyface. Like, I thought for sure, because there are some matches I just don't know in the history of history, right? And I'm like, oh, cool. JYD versus 2 heels. I wonder how this is going to go. JYD's finally going to win some irrelevant battle royal. He couldn't even win this. and he should have. It was right there. Whatever. Sure, bad news, whoever wins. It was so dumb. It was so dumb. Bret Hart was so dumb. Like, they team up and it actually works, which it never works. Usually somebody like Bret Hart would try to hit JYD and JYD would duck and then hit the other heel. Then they would no, they just work to a T, which never ever happens. Weird, man. Weird. Just weird times. Weird battle. If you're gonna do a 16 match card, we have no time for a battle. That's what I was thinking this entire match. We ain't got time for this. Wrap it up. Wrap this battle royal up. We have no time for this. That's all I could think of.
Yes, this was when the trophy was destroyed. Bad news, whatever, is very disrespectful.
No, like I don't think Brett should have won either, Maria, or anybody watching this. I think JYD should have won. I think Junkyard should have won.
Junkyard Dog.
It was two heels versus one.
But again, I will say though, for Maria's sake, and even Justin, who they were watching live, right? I watched this on VHS after the fact. Excuse me. Maria said she watched it live. Or, and she was aware back then of what was going on. And she said, Bad News was a great heel. This was the right decision. I'm going to take her word for it. But that's why I had said, looking back, watching it now to then, knowing how things turn out, I don't know if I don't see it as the right decision because there are those who, we all know who Bret Hart is. We know who Junkyard Dog is. There's a lot of people who don't know who Bad News Brown is, who aren't as lucky as Maria and Justin, who were paying attention to or being around back then. Ribshot says, as a kid, I hated that they destroyed the trophy. What a waste. Yeah. And I wonder, well, it wasn't the first one, right? You got the Andre the Giant Battle Royal that came on years after that. But anyway, interesting. Now we move on to the first match of the championship tournament. Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man, taking on Hacksaw Jim Duggan with Andre in the corner. And of course, Virgil. I just have to say, first off, like DiBiase, I love this whole storyline. I really do. It was even for me, you talk about years later, but like the whole idea, like paying off Andre to be his enforcer. And he's a great worker, right? Like if you're watching him, he's really good in the ring, man. He sells the heck out of it, and the way he does the flips and everything. And but he's a perfect heel. Like this was like, I'm the $1 Million Man. I'm gonna buy my way to the championship, and he almost gets there. I thought it was entertaining. Hacksaw, I'm so used to seeing WCW Hacksaw, old Hacksaw Jim Duggan. The younger Hacksaw still throws me up, but it's still there. You could see him in there, This was entertaining, but I'm going to say, obviously, DiBiase wins because DiBiase, we know how the story kind of goes out here, but I was entertained by this match, and I'm very entertained by Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man.
Yeah. Roddy Piper was the MVP of WrestleManias. Before this one, Ted DiBiase was the MVP of this WrestleMania. Macho Man was too, co-MVPs, but Ted DiBiase and his storytelling and his whole story was amazing. And I will say, Maria said that Bad News, whatever, wrestles Rowdy. We're going to watch WrestleMania. This is WrestleMania 5, just in the future. Like when we talk about that and beyond, I'm clueless. So I can't wait to dive in. Totally clueless. So this is the last WrestleMania I had like actually memories of watching back then or back in the day. But anyway, Ted DiBiase, what can you say about this match? Classic heel. Andre was pulling him. Jim Duggan. Referees were much smarter back then. I wish referees had the authority and the smarts they have back then, because referees are complete morons now. Referees had like attitude back then. They would disqualify somebody, and that was it. We saw it many times in this WrestleMania 4. They didn't play back then. Now it's like they just okay. Anyway, whatever. Ted DiBiase wins, as we all knew they would. The next match I was really intrigued by, because we saw superstar Billy Graham in his old age walking on Morocco down the aisle as he defeated Dino Bravo with Frenchie Martin via disqualification. I mean, again, 16 matches. They can't all go 10 minutes. This one was under 5 minutes. So I don't think we should spend too much time talking about this match. But two massive men, just two massive men. They would say this is the meat match of the card back in the day, and this was definitely it. Two powerhouses. What do you think about this match?
What you just left off, two powerhouses. I mean, and they played it off as such. And for guys that size to work that well, especially Don Morocco, who it really is just entertaining to hear them call like they start with the Rock, here comes the Rock, and that which is I know somebody brought that up last week's episode, and so I love that they really emphasized it because what's going to happen down the line with Mr. Dwayne Johnson. But I was very impressed with the way these guys moved, especially Don Morocco, man. What a worker. And of course, we know Dino Bravo's story from Dark Side of the Ring. And so it's, eerie seeing him and knowing how that turned out. But, this was defeat by disqualification. And honestly, it was a very, maybe I blinked and I missed it, but I was very confused by the DQ. I was kind of, how did it work? I don't understand what was the disqualification for. Was it because he pulled him, right? I think he pulled the referee.
Pulled the referee in front of him,
yeah. Which is kind of like, okay, but Morocco advances, and which again, it would, no matter how it would have finished, I think was the right decision, especially watching them both.
Yep. And that's about it on that one. Honestly, like, guys, some of these matches are just throwaway matches that didn't mean anything in the grand scheme of things. But this was definitely a meat on meat match.
Oh, Jesus.
The next match was good.
My goodness.
Greg Valentine with Jimmy Hart defeated in one of the worst endings of the night, Ricky Steamboat. I hate crossbodies that work against the person that gave it. Well, I don't understand. I'll never understand the physics of that. Oh, he crossbodied him and the leverage and this, and he broke. Okay, he got hit. Anyway, that's how this match ended. Greg Valentine grabs some tights. Ricky Steamboat loses to Greg the Hammer Valentine. I was kind of shocked by this. I think if I was at the IWC in 1988, would be very upset that Ricky Steamboat is losing to Greg Valentine here. What do you think?
Okay, so I know we hated on Greg Valentine. I do hate this finish, and I don't like this result. Of course, I think Ricky Steamboat should have advanced, and I mean, obviously, there was one screw up where he tried to do a rollover, and he got landed on by Valentine, which was on Steamboat. He was a little too far back, but wrestling, right? Live wrestling, it happens. But we all know, like, Steamboat should have been the one to advance. Better look, better character, bigger story, whatever. Would have been way better because you probably would have had a better match. I mean, you could have had Randy and Dragon too, in later in this tournament, which would have been great and probably better than what it was the year before. However, I'm going to give Greg his flowers here, Valentine, and not really because he won, just because he's, you look at him, he doesn't have the look, but he's like old school. It's like NWA, that type of look. And he looks, I can't say what I want to say on here, but I'll say after. But he doesn't have the look. He looks totally when I watch him, I see something else. But man, he could work though. I mean, you put him against anybody, and I mean, he could hang with him. So I will say it was entertaining enough for me to not want to walk off. I was paying attention, and I was saying, man, you know what? As much as we joke and I knew after the finish what we were going to say about it, but I'll give Greg, I get it, why he's putting this in these matches, why he's continued to put in these matches, because you could trust him. Okay, who needs an opponent? Greg Valentine, throw him in the ring. Go ahead. It's kind of like, I'm not saying he's this guy, but it's like Regal, right? William Regal. You want a decent match? I mean, we don't have all right, throw William Regal in there. That's kind of what Greg the Hammer is. I mean, Hammer's entertaining enough. He knows how to work, man. He can work with anybody. Give him a big, small, whatever. He'll do it.
Yep. And it's hard to walk away from any of these matches because the commentary. Like, you can't walk away from, the amazing commentary. Jesse going back and forth and just, like, anything to win. And then later on, Monsoon will say something like, yeah, anything to win. And Jesse will, yeah, I told you that in the Greg Valentine match. Like, yes, now you agree with me, anything to win. And it's just funny, like, their banter, like that keeps you going in these 16 matches of just dread at some points, honestly, they keep you engaged. The commentary matters. It truly matters in wrestling. It's a part of the show. And there too, I've heard enough. Heard 4 shows or, 3.5 shows or however long they did it. Those are the 2 best guys in commentary history. Not JR and King, not Cole and McAfee. It's these 2 guys. Clearly. The chemistry, the jabs, the personal shots they take at each other that are comedic yet funny yet cute. Jesse can go off and then Gorilla can just play the straight man and just brush him off like, yeah, I know I'm smarter than you and you can take your shots, but you can't affect me. And Jesse just keeps on jabbing. It's perfect, Bobby. Like, it's just perfect. And I wish we had that today because we don't have that today. We don't.
No. And, first off, again, I'm going to give flowers to a guy who, and I love that you just did, but like, I mean, we know Jesse the Body. He's so damn good because I talk about Gorilla and Bobby Heenan, and I love those guys, and we're going to get them soon. But Jesse the Body and Gorilla are great. Jesse is just so fun to listen to. But Gorilla, I mean, I love just sitting back and listening to him because he's like, he obviously knows what he's talking about. We know how important he is and everything else. But it's like, you listen to a guy who it's like listen to your great uncle or grandfather talking, and I just love. And what I love too is he's obviously the baby face, and he complains about every little thing the heel does. But as soon as the baby face, like Ricky the Dragon, Dragon grabs Dave Hebner, right? I'm sure it's Dave at this point, grabs Dave Hebner, throws him across the ring out of frustration. And if it was Greg Valentine or Andre, how dare you touch the ring? You can't do that. And here comes, but he does that to Steamboat does that to Dave Hebner, and Jesse calls it out like, you can't put your hands on that referee. Gorilla, you see what he's doing? And Gorilla's, well, he shouldn't get in the way there. He's in the way. And it's like, are you serious right now?
But I like that he's like the baby face guy. Yes.
Yeah, I love it though. But that's the way it should be. And that's the way that's when it was perfect. We know years later, Jim Ross and Jerry the King Lawler, they kind of follow that formula. It was good, but man, that was magic back then, listening to these guys talk. It's fun because you could either be on the Jesse side and kind of be like, and then you listen to it like, Jesse, actually Jesse's not that wrong. He's kind of right, dude. The heel, the commentator's always kind of right. But anyway, this was a perfect incident. I saw that part where he grabbed through the referee, and I just love it. He goes, he can't do that, Gorilla. And he goes, well, he shouldn't get in the way. I'm like, what? What? But anyway, here it goes. This one was a quick one. Let me see if I have the time up on here.
Savage and Butch Reed.
5 minutes.
Yep.
Yeah. Don Morocco was, it's a lot of the tournament matches were pretty quick, but yeah, this one, Randy Savage taking on Butch Reed, Miss Elizabeth, and my daughter was sitting down there, and I was like, but I'll say it then. I said it there. I don't care. I mean, Elizabeth is just beautiful, man. We talked about this last week. I get like you always went, why was she such a big deal? Like you always miss Elizabeth. This is like, why is she? And then you watch her back then, and you get it. Like everybody was fascinated with Miss Elizabeth, the first lady of wrestling, and we know how this story kind of plays out. I was telling my daughter, WrestleMania 5, the way it's coming up, the Mega Powers, and then WrestleMania 6, the reunion, and so it's so crazy how you see how these WrestleManias stack up, and you see the Macho Man evolving, you see the Macho Man Elizabeth story evolving, Hogan's stories evolving. You see Andre getting older. I just love it. Like kind of, how it's kind of building up. But anyway, quick match. All right. Macho is Macho Mania. 5 minutes of fun. I don't hate it. I think Butch Reed, I think he's a good worker. I enjoyed watching him a little, it wasn't boring watching that match. What do you think of it?
Yeah. And that's it. It's a squash match because I knew the results. So it's kind of been super uninterested, to be completely fair. But I did understand that Miss Elizabeth got involved and distracted Mr. Butch Reed, and that's another case of Gorilla Monsoon. Yeah.
Yes.
Remember, like, oh, they have the advantage with the man, this Rick Slick, whatever. And then Miss Elizabeth's, oh, I didn't know she'd be more important than this person over there, Gorilla. And terrible accent over there. But yes, this is the first. Not the first indication where Gorilla is super biased, but another big one. as he was actively rooting for Miss Elizabeth and Randy Savage. That's all I got from this match. It was great. The next match, though, I was super upset because, again, I didn't know these results. I knew most results, but didn't know any results. When I saw Bam Bam Bigelow, I'm like, all right, let's effing go. We're about to see Bam Bam in his prime. I can't wait. And we get a freaking count out. I was pissed, man. I'm sorry. I was like, this is a waste of my time. This is a waste of cut the Battle Royal. Cut Ultimate Warrior later on. I wanted to see Bam Bam. We got a count out? I didn't even know he was getting counted out. As a viewer, I'm like, what happened? He was really just getting counted out. There was no emphasis. Nobody said anything about it. It just happened. It was odd, Bobby. What do you think about this?
No, I'm with you 100%. First off, anytime you see Bam Bam Bigelow get on your screen, it's a sit back and watch moment. I don't care who else is he going against. And One Man Gang is no slouch either, but this was probably the shortest match, I think. Yeah, 2 minutes, almost 3 minutes long, almost it was 2:56. Come on, dude. Bam Bam Bigelow, one of the best big men in the business in the ring, but again, this was one of those matches where at least the finishes where I was scratching my head. How do you wrap it that way? I get it, right? It's a tournament match, and you can't have everybody advance, but you could have thought about this before. I don't know how McMahon and maybe Pat Patterson or whoever was helping him those days were going, okay, yeah, we're gonna have like 4 or 5 whatever of these matches, and we're gonna end them in odd ways. Like I can understand 1, maybe 2. Should limit it to 1 because you don't want to, but like a few of these matches ended up pretty weird, and it's like, come on, this is why this should be a Saturday night main event match or something like that. But you have all these matches thrown in here, and again, I get it. It looks pretty. It looks exciting. Wow, the tournament. Look who's all these guys are going for the title. You imagine if Bam Bam is in the finals? Can you imagine if Rick Rude or Jake Roberts are in there or Ricky Steamboat, and then it's like, oh, disqualification, oh, draw, oh, double DQ, oh, it's like, come on. So yeah, again, like you said, Bam Bam, one of great workers. I was disappointed in this. I was disappointed by the length of the match, but again, I guess I understand why it went that way, especially with what was left on the card.
But we got match of the night right afterwards, in my opinion. Jake Roberts and Rick Rude, to me, was the best part of this match, of this card, except for, of course, the main event was fun. The match itself, the main event, but it wasn't as fun, just the ending. But I really enjoyed Rick Rude and Jake Roberts.
Yeah.
This match, I kind of had a feeling it was going to go to a draw because they mentioned the time, like, oh, it's been a long time. And I did notice as well, it was going a long time. Jake was so smooth in the ring. Rick Rude, you could tell the times were changing, right? You still had the Greg Valentines on the card and the Andres, of course, and the older people. Then you have people like Rick Rude, jacked, kind of abs. They got weird tights. They kept on bringing up his tights. Right? Oh, that's so. If you had a face on your trunks back in the day, Gorilla, it'd be the size of a whatever he said to him. Like, so yeah, this match was great, man. Like, I had fun. I wish that they didn't get double drawled. Like, the draw was whatever, but I watch AEW. I'm used to draws.
Oh, damn. So yeah, no. Again, the longest match on the card, 15 minutes, but it was 15 minutes of pure entertainment. If you love professional wrestling, sit back and enjoy this. For those who don't know Jake Snake, if they just know him as a gimmick who comes out in the ring nowadays with the snake on his back and smiling and waving with a jacket, or somebody who DDP saved, which again, amazing story. And I love where Jake Roberts is now. Got nothing but love and respect for him, but more so of what he's done as well. But go back and watch him. Watch this match. I mean, you said he's smooth. I mean, it is pleasantly surprising to watch how good he was of a worker in that ring. I mean, how he worked around the ring, how much he knew the psychiatry of the match, but also the way he worked. And again, could work with anybody. Rick Rude is entertaining. Rick Rude is a legend. It sucks that his career was so short, but he's not what Jake Roberts was in the ring, but these two had a very, very good match. And I agree, minus the main event, probably the most entertaining match, or the best match on the card.
Yeah,
I think at least.
It was the best. If I had to go, hey, what match should I watch from WrestleMania 4? I'd say go watch Jake and Rick Rude because that's the best match of the card or the night. That's what I would tell
100%.
people.
Let's see. Make sure I got the right one here.
Oh boy.
There you go. Yes. Okay. I hope I'm right here. I think so. You got the Ultimate Warrior taking on Hercules. Yeah. So first off, we've seen Hercules now 3 WrestleManias, right?
Yep.
And the first 2 impressive. You're like, man, this dude, and I'm sure in between here, just as impressive. And I'd love to get Justin and Maria and Lou, and maybe they watched it then, or I'm sure Maria did, and to know what this story was. But I'll just say this: obviously, charismatic. He drew the fans' attention. We know what he turns into and what he is and what he finishes as, the Ultimate Warrior. But you could tell, at least for me, what a step back it was for Hercules. From what I've seen with him to what he's doing right then and there, how short that match was, and kind of seemed a little all over the place. It was not my favorite.
This match sucked. Just put it plain. This match was a walk away kind of match. I didn't walk away, but it could have been. You're right. Hercules took a massive step back. It's like a different wrestler. I kind of didn't recognize that was the same guy. That's the same person that I just watched last week. For us, it's a week. For them, it was a year. So yes. I get it. But yeah, it's just a stepping stone moment for Ultimate Warrior. We know what he becomes. And I guess we're looking forward to that soon. But this match was a nothing burger. It was pretty much a squash match that I did not care about whatsoever. But we did see the first WrestleMania of Ultimate Warrior. So now we get to see the rest. Can't wait. Can't wait, Bobby.
Now we get they publicize it. You see it there on that poster. I saw it on mostly every poster. We get Hogan, Andre 2. And obviously Andre, even just when you saw WrestleMania 2 to WrestleMania 3, you could see the difference between Andre.
Oh yeah,
the decline in regards of movement and whatever, but it was still, he could still help carry, or Hogan carried that match, and Hogan was a great seller for Andre. But you could tell, like, this is not the Andre that we know. Now this one comes around and he's not just a step slower. I mean, he is 2 steps slower. But this was a lot, very physical. I got to compliment Hogan in regards of selling for Andre, making those moves that, if you're just watching, you're kind of like, does that really hurt? But the way Hogan's just going, you got the whole bashing the head in the back of the neck and the squeezing of the cubicles or whatever they call it, the cubicle, whatever, not choking him. He's doing here and going with it. And then the way it finishes, as this I get. This you could go end a double DQ, even though it should not have been a double DQ. It should have been Andre winning by disqualification because Hogan used the chair first. I will say that. First, again, I love that it finished that way. I get it, right? Maybe it should have been the other way around because, you really want Andre to continue. However, or you could have done something else for a double DQ. But this match, again, it was what was expected. Didn't expect much of it. It was started off slow. I do like kind of the interference in here and there. Then Hogan grabs the chair, hits Andre. Correct me if I'm wrong. Hogan hit Andre first. Then Andre hits Hogan back, and then it's going back and forth. And then there's a double disqualification. Hogan chases DiBiase and Virgil out of the ring. Andre's getting up. Hogan goes back in the ring, slams Andre. Not the greatest slam because Andre can't help himself anymore, but he was still pretty impressive for Hogan. And he did get the leg, but it was distracting. And of course, I just love how he hits the atomic leg. This was a little before the end of the match. Forgive me for jumping here. He hits the atomic leg drop. Here comes the bit, but the referee's down. Hogan gets up, help the referee. I'll say, here comes Andre. Andre gets right back up. Andre's like, oh, no, just kidding. I'm awake, and does the suplex. And, so anyway, or that was the pushback. Anyway, double DQ should have been a Andre the Giant win, but is what it is. What did you think of this match?
The worst suplex ever Hogan did to Virgil. That was awful. Virgil was out the rest of the night because of that, because Virgil tried to land on his feet to ease the fall, because I mean that was on concrete, I believe it was.
Oh, you're talking about outside the ring. Yes.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't even thinking about Virgil.
Yeah. Worst
Hogan.
suplex ever.
Hogan, Hogan didn't land. I mean, I was like, Virgil broke his back. Oh my gosh.
Hogan's just like, whatever, bro.
I was like, damn, Hogan's gonna do a suplex outside the ring. I was like, that's freaking impressive. I don't remember seeing that. Nope, he just like, yep. Damn.
Yeah, that was awful. I felt bad for. I'm not smashing Virgil I'm not taking that bump ever. So, what I'm saying is that was a horrible maneuver, as they said back then. Yeah, this match was fun. The hype was real. It was good. Double DQ had to happen, because if you look at it, if anyone would have advanced, that person would have won. They would have won, and they would have gone on. So it has to do it for the story. But yeah, you're right. Do a double DQ a different way. And I love how Jesse was. What an idiot! I've never seen someone celebrate so much after not advancing in a world championship match. And dude, Hogan went for 10 straight minutes, dude. Brother, I had a fast forward. I only fast forwarded twice in the whole experience this morning, and this was one of them. Hogan just fucking posed, forever. I know that they probably told him to do that, but him and when Jesse did it, everyone, Jesse, the Body Ventura, then randomly I'm like, okay, I'm fast.
I'm like, okay. I'm like, all right, Jesse. You're still in shape, Jesse. Yeah, okay. Come on now.
I don't know what that was for, but the live crowd, I guess. But anyway, Hogan and Andre double DQ'd, and it makes room for Ted DiBiase because he is the next match against Don Morocco. I like Ted DiBiase's move where he just puts his fist out and just falls over and doesn't even come close to the guy's head. Yeah. But you know what? I realized Ted DiBiase in my era, I didn't know him as this wrestler. Yeah. I just knew him as the $1 Million Man who just laughs. I think he would have been my second favorite wrestler in this era. I think Roddy Piper would have been 1 and Ted DiBiase would have been 2.
Yeah.
So good. Just his promo work, his in-ring work is super, super solid. Storytelling in a ring. He doesn't bore me. He doesn't have boring moves. I like this guy. I love Ted DiBiase.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. I kind of already said how I felt about DiBiase, and again, this was the right decision, right? Again, I love him as a heel. Love him in this story, like you said. It is Macho Mania, but DiBiase, his shadow reigned supreme over this WrestleMania. Like you knew where, like you Macho. No, I don't think when you're watching this, if you weren't smart enough to how it's going to end, you go, oh, maybe it's Hogan at the end, or maybe it's this guy at the end, maybe it's Steamboat, maybe it is Macho. You didn't know who was going to be on the other side. You kind of figured DiBiase was going to get there, and it wasn't. Each match was not drawn out that way. Like he sold really well, but my God, again, he worked really well. Like I really was pleasantly surprised just sitting back and watching him, and be like, damn, I get it. And he used to have monster matches. I've seen one way back in the day with him, and I think Jerry Lawler in Memphis Wrestling. I found it one time. I mean, he was a great worker, but like watching him here, it's like you said, he was more a gimmick than anything. But you could tell in these matches, he's a pretty damn good worker. So yeah, right decision. And I mean, this was WrestleMania IV. You leave being very with DiBiase or $1 Million Man appreciation. That's how I felt. You left out appreciating Ted DiBiase. So,
yep.
Next one.
No, okay. It's Savage and Valentine next.
Was it Savage and Valentine next?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'll find it. I thought this one's the next one. My bad.
That's all right. There's not much to talk about here, because if you're smart, like going back, that's why I'm excited to watch WrestleMania 5, 6. Like I truly don't know what happens in those WrestleManias. I'll know. When I turn those on, I'll probably be like, oh yeah, that match happened here. Okay, cool. But I'm truly kind of blanked out in that era. So I can't wait. So spoiled this pay-per-view a little bit because I knew Randy Savage was going to win the whole thing. So when I see Randy Savage versus Greg Valentine, I think two things. Well, one, I know the winner, and two, I know who should be the winner. So this is kind of like a, what do they call them? What do I call them? Drawn out squash match. I forgot what I used to call them on Real Talk Wrestling, but this was a competitive squash match where we knew somebody was going to just win outright. So 6 minutes of Randy Savage and Greg Valentine. Was it worth our 6 minutes, Bobby? That's what I'm asking you. Was it worth our 6 minutes?
Are you saying, okay, we're not talking about Beefcake and Honky Tonk, right?
No, because the next match was Savage and Greg Valentine. We can go into Brutus Beefcake. If
No. Yeah, so 6 minutes, 6 minutes exactly. Again, when you were sort of talk about the Intercontinental title match, I was going to say, no, we could have gone without that match. I wasn't really entertained with that at all.
With the IC title match, you didn't like it?
No, it was a little, anyway. But these two, I'm going to say, be a little different here. I just sat back and said, let me watch the match. Let me not judge. I knew who was going to win. Again, I would rather have seen Steamboat Savage too. I was already, you're already disappointed you didn't get that match. But I was like, let me just watch it for to watch it. And again, I could see why Valentine was in that spot, even though you could say easily Steamboat. But do you go Savage over, do you, I don't know. I think Valentine's a good worker. I think it's an easy win, and it's more explainable than Savage going over on Steamboat when Steamboat went over him on the last WrestleMania. Yeah. So, I mean, you could have gone without it, and again, I would prefer Savage Valentine, Steamboat, but I didn't hate it. I just watched two legends going at it, and I could see why Valentine was put in that spot. But Savage goes over, which again was the right decision. I would have preferred Dragon. Now, for the Beefcake match and why I felt the way I felt for it, I'll go back to it in a second here.
Yep.
Again, WWF back then was all about the gimmicks. Love the gimmicks. I get it. Beefcake is full on Brutus the Barber now. You had Peggy Sue. I think that was Peggy Sue and the what do they call him? The Colonel, Tom Parker, right? And it's really Jimmy Hart, the Colonel. Honky Tonk first was a great worker too. Got a lot of respect for Honky Tonk. Enjoying watching him as a character. But I can't take seriously the match or Beefcake in that spot. And again, there's so many other guys that could. I don't know. And again, I'm ignorant to it, because I wasn't around back then. I'm sure he was huge with the fans, right? Because that's a character kids would love, and fans were probably getting a kick out of cutting people's hair. And holy crap, can you imagine he would cut Honky Tonk's hair, but except he cuts Jimmy Hart's hair, and it ends with a DQ of Beefcake gets disqualified. Brutus the Barber, and that was one of those blink and then you miss it type of thing. So Anyway, talk to me about you're just this match here.
There's nothing to talk about. Hate it. Hate the gimmicks. Hate the gimmick. I'm not a gimmick guy. He was sitting. Brutus is cutting this promo and he's just chopping away on the scissors, dude. Like you said, I'm sure. No, I can't see it. I can't see my kid. My kid's 8 years old. Like your son's young. I can't see my kid going, man, that's a cool character I can relate to.
Mine either.
No. This match sucks. I think we should move on because the next match sucks too. And I'm mad about this match, but Maria's here. I can't wait to get preachy. I can't wait to get on. I had not been preachy all night, but if I'm going to be consistent with the snake, which I didn't even touch on the snake tonight, but this poor dog at the end of this match, where they were throwing this poor dog on the other wrestlers. I don't know which one that was. I don't know if it was Haku Tom. I don't know if it was Bobby Heenan. But this poor dog at the end is getting thrown into adult men. And the dog didn't want to do anything. What are we doing? I'm glad the World Wildlife Foundation sued or took the name. I'm glad that maybe they mistreat their animals. I'm not even joking, Bobby. I couldn't believe what we were watching. They were throwing a dog at another human being. Could you imagine if that was going on in 2026? I was pissed. I was livid. This poor little dog has no mean bone in his body. He's just happy to, probably scared, 19,000 people there. And they're just picking him up and throwing him into an adult man. And the dog's doing nothing. And then the gorilla and Jesse have to sell. Oh, he's tearing him apart. The dog is going to. No, he's not. I saw the dog. Pause. The dog is just. It just took everything away. It took everything away. It took this whole match, threw it in the trash. I'm being serious. I couldn't believe it.
First off, I get it. I knew that was going to happen. I knew you were going to go there. I thought the same thing with the snake when they took when Jake took the snake out just to try to throw it at.
I didn't even bring that up because I was saving it for this.
The ring. And I'm like, "Are you gonna grab him?" Yeah, now we're leaving him there. We was gonna see if that snake kind of lunged ahead because I was like, "Oh, look who's in front." That didn't happen, but it's playing. But first off, again, Davey Boy, Dynamite Kid, Haku, Tama, Bobby the Brain. It was other than that, it was fun. It was a fun, entertaining match. This was better than the Barber match for me. This, I enjoyed it. Legends in the ring there. But I knew you were going to go there. I knew it. And again, every time now I see that, I think of you, and I'm like, I see what's that? In the arms of what are those? Yeah.
Hey, these are. Listen, that's animal abuse, man. What are we doing? It just. Anyway, let's just talk about the match. Bobby Heenan was the most entertaining part of this match. Obviously.
Bobby Heenan's great.
Obviously. The moments he could tag in and just beat up Dynamite Kid or Davey, whoever it was, I forgot, he was kicking in the face early on in the match. I think it was Dynamite. Dynamite gets him a sucker punch or hits him back and he just tags out right away. I love Bobby finally getting his comeuppance and getting beat up. Like, that's the point of this match. That's the point of this match. Getting him beat up. Getting Bobby Heenan getting embarrassed and beat up. So accomplished. Could have done without the dog, but everything else was accomplished. Well done. Well done all six.
Yeah, next one here is another one of these DQs. You got Randy Savage, the Macho Man, taking on the one-man gang, which this was one that I was looking for. I see. I was like, okay, because one-man gang, you may look at him and you go, no, but he was good. He was entertaining. He could work. I would rather see Bam Bam Bigelow in this spot, but don't hate one man gang. But again, knew where it was kind of going. Ends in a DQ. Move on.
Hits him with the cane, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, so nonchalant. Oh yeah, I'm gonna hit him. I'm DQ'd. Oh well. All right. This is so weird to me. So weird. But yeah. I have no thoughts, because I want to save everything for the end. But I honestly, I'm not skipping on these matches but just what can we talk about? It's a 4-minute match. It's 4 minutes in a DQ.
Let me ask you this: with the matches that we're seeing, especially with Macho Man, because the $1 Million Man comes back out. He's in his suit where he could tear off, and all of this to come out. He just comes out just for them to say, due to the double DQ, Ted DiBiase now has a bye. And, oh, yeah. So Macho Man really is the worker here. I mean, he's worked multiple matches here. Let's see, 1, 2.
Yeah, that's the story.
4, right? So let me ask you this, because we know we're all macho guys, right? We love the Macho Man Randy Savage. Yeah. Whether he's in your top 5 or whatever, I think everybody could say, man, I love Macho Man, man. How do you think he did throughout this pay-per-view, working all these matches? Was there ever a match that you felt like, man, he looked like he took that one off, like he just got through it? Let me just get through this.
I don't think I saw that in any way at all, but I did see where the majority of his matches, the Butch Reed match was 5 minutes. This one was just 4 minutes long. The longest match was Greg Valentine. That was 6 minutes, and he just sold the whole time and wanted the end with an elbow drop. So it's not like, and I'm not discounting Randy Savage. He wrestled 4 times. But Jake wrestled a 15-minute match. That's more impressive to me than 4 or 3 15-minute matches, or 3 matches that lasted under 15 minutes up into the main event, because that was 10 minutes. But do you understand? I'm not discounting Randy.
No, I get it.
It was more of a he didn't really do much.
And the thing is, because a lot of the guys, I mean, again, Butch Reed, one man gang, and I'm not knocking them. And I got Valentine probably the most capable of them all, right? As the traditionalist, whatever. But like Jake Roberts, Macho Man. Think about how that match probably would have went. You know,
Well, that's why they didn't, and everyone's upset.
Savage versus Steamboat.
I saw everyone's comments. We didn't get, but that's not. If you're gonna get Savage and Steamboat, look at the majority of these matches. They're kind of one-sided. We kind of know who's gonna win.
Well, that's the point. It for me, if it was leaving off until the end. Like, okay, your longest match and probably the better match for the night is going to be against DiBiase, which of course that's what turns out. But before we get there, we had the second longest match of the night, which is 12 minutes, 33 seconds. Demolition taking on Strikeforce. Demolition defeating Strikeforce for the tag team titles. I was ready for the main event. This was a great, again, fun. This was the era of tag teams. Obviously, at least character tag teams and legendary tag teams and whatever. But I was at a point now where it's like, okay, let's get to the main event. So I'll let you take it from here with the thoughts on this match.
Yeah, I was on the point too of like, all right. My wife actually walked in during this match, and she kind of made fun of the Demolition a lot, actually. And I'm like, could you leave? Because I'm trying to finish this crap. I gotta get to the main event. So I spent most of this match watching with my wife, making fun of Action Smash in their face. She goes, they're wearing more glitter than me, and my wife loves glitter. So that's the takeaway of this match. It is what it is. I'm surprised they put this match. I mean, I loved them too, Justin. Like, they're fine, but I was ready to get to the end, and I think the fans were too, because when we get to the main event, we get to Randy Savage, we get to Ted DiBiase. They have their entrances, they do their shows. Gorilla gets answered a weird question by Jesse. Who do you like better, Vanna White or Miss Elizabeth? Oh, Elizabeth. So they're just gushing over this match and this matchup, and how Ted DiBiase has Andre in the corner and Randy just has Elizabeth. That was the story in the beginning of the match. It was Andre getting involved early, behind the referee's back. And what are the fans doing this entire first 3 minutes of the match? What are they doing, Bobby? They're looking at the entrance. They're chanting Hogan. Yeah. That's what the fans wanted.
Yeah.
They wanted Hogan. To me, I'm like, you guys should be rooting on for Randy. This is his moment. But yet they're just looking at the damn entrance, waiting for Hogan, man.
And they did that way before Elizabeth ran to the back. They were already staring at the entrance ramp. And I thought Hogan was already coming out. It wasn't until Elizabeth went back later to get Hogan, which was obvious, but right on. Continue. I'm sorry.
No, but that was, I don't understand the mega powers, but this was Randy's moment, and it became Hogan's moment, and it's always Hogan's moment. It's always going to be Hogan's moment. And that just bugged me a little bit. Just a little bit, nothing crazy, but it didn't take away from the match. But now that I knew Hogan was coming out because Miss Elizabeth, which was Hogan couldn't just figure it out. Like, where was Hogan? Where was Hogan that he didn't know this was happening? First off, but either way, that's his tag team partner. I loved it. I loved the Giants' involvement. I love Andre's involvement. I love Hulk's involvement in the end. Randy Savage, what a moment. I don't know if those were real tears by Miss Elizabeth, but it came off as genuine. I liked it a lot. And man, Macho Mania, the first WrestleMania where Hogan was involved. I shouldn't say that, but he was not in the main event. He was just watching the main event. So that was cool.
So, I was looking forward to the main event and watching these two go at it. And it is weird because Hogan's not in the main event. You bring up a great point. Right. I noticed it too. The fans all staring off in the staring into the ramp. And I'm like, oh, Hogan's already coming out. I always thought I knew Hogan was in the corner, but I don't remember where he came out. So I thought Hogan was coming out then, and he didn't. And fans are chanting Hogan, Hogan, Hogan. Then they kind of silence themselves and then they just enjoy the match. That will tell you this, though, for those who are not smartened up to back then or smartened up to, Hogan, arguing Hogan's not the greatest, or Hogan, the wrestling would have been, the same or better if Hogan wasn't around. No, Why was Hogan always involved? Because that's what the fans wanted. Vince listened to the audience. He listened to the crowd. The live crowd wasn't no TWC or nothing, or TIC, whatever you call it, IWC,
IWC,
whatever the hell they are now. Nobody was there hating on it. The fans all chanted Hogan. They wanted Hogan. Like you said, you would say, oh, this is the Macho Man spot. Or, Macho and Ted DiBiase, let's focus. No, wait a second. No, you've been feeding us Hogan. We want to see Hulkamania. So then now they're like, okay, he's not coming out. Let's go ahead and focus. And Andre gets involved. And then there's another kind of here, and Macho's trying to handle it. And Macho Man tells Elizabeth, and Elizabeth goes running back. And my daughter's kind of like, is she actually crying? Or is there something in her eye or whatever? Why is she always like, why is her face like that all the time? My oldest. And I go, this is who she was. First off, she was great with her emotions. She was always good. That was what she was. And but here, and also then you hear Hogan again. When she runs to the back, you know what's happening. She's coming out with the Hulkster, and here comes Hogan down the ramp, and he's even the odds. And Savage, finishing with one of the most beautiful elbow off the top turnbuckle. I mean, the ups of this guy, it's just he wasn't as aerobatic, as like a Steamboat or out of the big high flyers. He's pretty safe with his flying, but he did it. But that was pretty damn impressive, that elbow off to DiBiase to get the win. And then here comes Hogan runs. And I just thought of you. Here comes Hogan, runs to the belt, grabs the belt, runs in the ring, gives it him, grabs the chair. Okay, and then celebrates in the ring. And what a moment. And in that picture right there, what a way. It makes me think of Rocky, that one. He puts the girl, his girl on the shoulder, and what a moment. And that's what it's all about. Like, every WrestleMania ending with Hogan doing the posing and everything. Cool. Great poster shot. Great, whatever. But right there, somebody's starting from the bottom, and you see his growth from WrestleMania 2, 3, 4 to being the champion. And we know where it's going because WrestleMania 5 is about to show up. One of the most legendary WrestleMania main events with Hogan and Macho Man.
Oh, that's what it is. Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Told you, I'm blank, bro. It's fun. No, I only said it like 4 times during the show.
I'm sorry, brother.
No, it doesn't bug me. Like, it's whatever. Like, what I said was, when I turn WrestleMania on and I see, like, I'll go, oh, okay, this is when this match happens. Because I'm so from now until about WrestleMania 19-ish, I'm kind of clueless. Well, 17-ish, I'm kind of clueless.
So, anyway, we all know, or we know where this is going.
I know where it's going eventually. I just didn't know how long this played out. So, like, I know certain matches and things are going to happen. Like, I know WrestleMania 10's card very well, but I don't know when this Mega Power. I don't know when this would happen. So I guess it's next one. So
WrestleMania 5 and 6. Is it 6 the Warrior? I think 6 is Warrior and 7 is Slaughter.
He's just spoiling it all. Like,
sorry,
I literally just said I can't wait.
It's all Hogan, brother. It's Hulkamania. Anyway, sorry if I blew up the ears. But yeah, either way, love the final shot of this show. Love the way it wrapped. The right man won. DiBiase, give him his flowers. I think that this one I left appreciating Ted DiBiase so much more than I did, and then just watching Macho Man holding up that belt, as great as he is, as great a worker as he is, it was absolutely deserved. And like you say, and we were just saying here, spoiler, we know where it's going. Maria says the Mega Powers explode next year. Yes, these two are like always at each other, and it's just, this is kind of where it started, the story. We know where it's going, and we know how it ends up. But you've been ranking these WrestleManias, you got 4 now. 3 was dead last. Where's 4?
So I was gonna get into it. Thank you for ruining my transition. But no, you're
son of a bitch. I'm sorry.
It's all right, brother. Just stepping on my gimmick. Anyway, so if you add in the commentary with Jesse and Gorilla, you take Bob Uecker's involvement, which I kind of enjoyed, kind of not enjoyed. He was hit or miss. You didn't have as much celebrity input into this WrestleMania. You had the Vanna White. You had the Vanna White watch, which apparently she was such a big deal back then. Cool. I get it. So she was a big deal. This match, this WrestleMania card, from top to bottom, it was lengthy. It had a lot of matches, but it also had a lot of bangers. and it had a lot of modern, in my eyes, more of a modern wrestling approach with the way people looked and the way people did their moves and the maneuvers. So that being said, this is up at number 1. I put this as the most entertaining, the best WrestleMania I've seen so far to date. It beats WrestleMania 2, which now I have number 2. WrestleMania 1, I have at 3, and WrestleMania 3 is dead last at 4. And honestly, I don't see a world where WrestleMania is worse than WrestleMania 3. And I'm not trying to be cool or not trying to be hip. I was genuinely bored with the majority of WrestleMania 3. And I was highly entertained. Like I said, I didn't fast. You know, the one thing that stood out to me, and I don't want to get any hate from Maria, and I don't want to get any hate from nobody. No women's match. Just because we have women's wrestling, which I do appreciate and love. We all know that. Doesn't mean we need to have it on every single card if it doesn't call for it. Doesn't call for it, don't throw it on the show. They didn't have a women's match. They didn't probably have a need for it.
So now we know why this is number 1. Here, you know, the you know, if you need a champion for animal rights, go to Josh. When it comes to women's rights, get out of the way, brother. Here comes Hollywood Kimmel in the house. Whoa.
I mean, all I'm saying is it was a smooth show. That's all.
Now we know why, right? we figured it out. Oh God.
All right. So yeah, number 1 for me, WrestleMania 4. Number 1.
Rock, hard place. No, I like it. And again, as much as you want to, you know, we were bashing earlier 16 matches, and I love the idea of WrestleMania 4. I like the way it ended. I'm not ranking them. I know we could do it. I think that would be fun. But I'm not ranking them as you are, so I'm going to roll with you. But I'll just say, like this one, I like the idea. I liked how it wrapped. I think the guys who main evented the match should have main evented the match. But again, I would have loved to see Macho Steamboat 2 or Macho and Jake the Snake. You know, I think that would have been cool, you know, or Steamboat and Jake the Snake. And, you know, I would have loved to see, or Hogan against one of these guys, but I get the concept. It was fun. It was WrestleMania. I like the lack of celebrities, you know, even though, you know, I know it's kind of coming up. Oh man. Oh, there it is. Maria, just send a gif of a dog turn the cow and Twister flying. Get it.
All I'm saying is, if the shoe fits. No, I will say that. No, I will say,
brother.
I will say this: when we get to later WrestleManias, and if we get to later WrestleManias, I know we will. And when I'm talking about Sasha and Bianca being the best match on the card, or I'm talking Rhea and Charlotte, and we all know I hate Charlotte. They're the best match on the card. We'll get a turnaround, but in 1988, there just wasn't any talent back then. I'm sorry, there just wasn't. So better for the show, honestly. And you know what else is better for the show? You know what else is better for the show, Bobby? Is we're here live every single Saturday night, 5 p.m. Eastern. We are starting to put out shorts. There was nothing that I really wanted to talk about this week. I didn't want to talk about AEW. I didn't want to talk about Ronda Rousey showing up. I didn't want to talk about, you know why? Because all nonsense, Bobby. It is. But there are things that we're going to talk about soon because WrestleMania season is right around the corner. Well, it's here. It's no longer right. It's March 21st, 2026. WrestleMania season is here. And we will be creating more shorts throughout the week. So stay tuned for that. And if you want me to talk about Ronda Rousey for 5 minutes, please let me know. I just had no interest in it. Zero.
I'll just say, I had to literally hit my head as hard as I could, get my eyes back straight because my eyes rolled so hard when I saw her come on out. You know, after all the shit, whatever, as much shit as she talked about professional wrestling, to show up on any professional wrestling platform, and whether that's a knock against WWE, and I know I'm breaking the rules for Josh right now. because I'm not supposed to do this. And but I'm just gonna say because if he does a short, I won't do it. I'm not gonna be able to do it. So, and I think that's great, and I love it.
You know what?
My eyes rolled so and hard. I'm pumped for Ronda. Great.
We need to do one. We need to do
I'm
one.
not. I'm not. I have no interest in seeing Ronda Rousey wrestle at all for anybody. Just because all the shit she talked after being given the platform that she was given, and to give an opportunity against someone like Toni Storm, who's at the top of her game and the top of her company, to give that spot to her, someone so undeserving. I don't know how anybody would want to work with her, but hey, to each their own.
AEW, we're the best wrestle. And here at Finn's Talk Sports Network, we're the best podcasters podcast. We're the best content creators create. My name is Josh. That's Bobby. We're live, like I said, every single I don't know why I'm saying Saturday at 5 p.m. Real Talk Wrestling, myself and Clutch, El Ginger Americano holding it down on Thursday nights, 6:30 p.m. Eastern. We just broke down Randy Orton turning heel. Who's on the phone? We think it's Dwayne. We think Dwayne and Randy are in cahoots. So if you want some current news or current show, that's us on Thursday night. Bobby does a bunch of Dolphins talk. I know he's got a draft coming up. So Dolphins news for you. Check out the site for that, Finn's Talk Sports Network. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Hit the alerts, all the notifications, guys. But we're going to get out of here. Next week, WrestleMania 5, where apparently the mega powers collide. So I cannot wait for that. Can't wait to see the spotlight women's match of that night. Can't wait to see it. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here before I get myself in trouble. So guys, peace out. Much love. Bye.